What's going on, fellas? I've got here a 2007 Toyota Camry, and I'm going to use this car to point out to you the location of the multiple fuses and the relay for the operation of the starter. So this is the Camry that has turn to start. It'll be a little different if you have push to start. So we're first going to go down here and make sure your e-brake is on, so the lever will be out of the way of getting to this cover. We remove this cover by just pulling down on this tab here. This is where we will find the first of the two fuses. So this 7.5 amp fuse right here is known as the Am1 fuse. And the role of this fuse is to send power to the ignition switch that is used to detect if the car is in park or neutral when you're attempting to start the car. So that's the first fuse for you to check, the Am1. The other fuse, as well as the starter relay, is located underneath the hood. So let's move under here. There's a cover here which we remove by lifting up on this tab right there. And you push in on this piece right here and lift upwards. The starter relay is this relay right here. And the other fuse is actually integrated into this fuse bank. You can see it if you look through the side of it there. It's translucent, and you can see if it's blown or not. Now, as far as troubleshooting the starter relay, my favorite way to do this is I'll have an assistant get in the car and try to start the car. Have them turn the key to the start position and hold it there. While they're doing that, I'll tap on this starter relay. I'll also grab it and wiggle it around. Sometimes relays can get stuck, and by either tapping or wiggling the relay, you can get it to unstick. Now, further troubleshooting beyond that, what we can do is we can remove the starter relay, set it aside, and we can swap in a different relay and see if after swapping the relay, the car is able to start. If the car starts after swapping the relay, then you know that the original relay is probably no good. Now let's take a closer look at the wiring of this. So let's go into detail. The Am1 fuse that I showed you inside the car sends power to the ignition switch. And when that ignition switch is turned to the start position, the Am1 power is then sent to the neutral safety switch if you have an automatic. If your car is in park or neutral, that neutral safety switch will send power to this pin right here. So if you're turning the key to the start position and you do not see power here, you may have an issue with your ignition switch, or perhaps the neutral safety switch, or that Am1 fuse. There is a constant ground available at this pin, and this pin receives power also from the ignition switch when it's turned to the start position. This power at this pin is sent from this fuse right here. So again, to summarize, when you turn the key all the way to the start position, both this and this pin should be energized, and this pin should have a ground. Now, when this relay is energized, what it does is it takes power from this pin, the start fuse, and it sends it to the starter through this pin right here. Now, what's cool about this is you have the battery sitting right here. You know, make sure the connections are clean and tight. You can take a wire from here and send power directly to the starter yourself by sending power into that pin right there. This will result in the engine turning over if your starter is good, your battery is good, and all the connections are good and everything. And of course, if your engine is not seized. So that is just a troubleshooting step. Make sure that the vehicle is in park or neutral, and that nobody's hands are anywhere near the engine when you're engaging the starter. Now, this is the 6-cylinder. We can see the starter is actually right here. And the connection from the relay goes to the starter on this wire right here. So you can see if this wire is receiving power when you're starting the car, or when you're trying to start the car, then the ignition switch and the relay and all the fuses are good. So if this is getting power but the engine's not turning over, you may have an issue with the starter itself. So yeah, I hope this information was helpful for you. Please do let me know if you have any questions, or more importantly, any advice about the starter on your Toyota Camry.